Okay.
Raised by a family, the police surround me. The tension is built but never said. A hope for the future, a wound to be sutured, too tight in the middle around my neck. The high expectation, the illumination, my future to be so tainted red. A thought never given, a destiny driven. The chest where I pass my hand to hang the medallion around my neck. Kids not meant for self-said mentor. I know it's not what you meant. Kept with it on reach, the courage unleashed, the freedom I wish is never said. The life I've been gifted, the hope has been sifted, don't tighten the collar around my neck. A light and unfruitful, a tool never useful, a thing to show off yet to resent. A cry in the shadow, alone always have to. The pressure leaves me a record, hang from medallion around my neck. Is not meant for self-said mentor. I know it's not what you meant. The tin man created, the iron battle fated, the pirate hangs low with jealousy under. I'm nearer than mine from my dirt bed. They move uncontented, my shackles cemented. The tears flow in lieu of death. My kisses with every breath to the medallions off my neck. Medallions off my neck. Medallions off my neck. Medallions off my neck. Cheers not meant for self-sentimental. I thought it's not what you meant, but now I see you drag me since my first step.
Waiter, more jobs. Moldiver. Moldiver. Hee Okay, we got Yerke and Campus. New campus, new campus.
Welcome one, welcome all to the first ever Counters Casual Competition Double Up Edition. Words I thought I'd never be able to say because it did not seem like Double Up competitions would ever happen. But if you go all the way back for the history of TFT, one of the first broadcaster competitions, at least being done on a live event, was one of the ones in Spain that was Double Up itself. So it was proven it could be done, and it will be done here again today. So hope you guys are ready for what should hopefully be a tremendous event. There's been a lot of bits and pieces that need to get in order to make sure everything works here today. But let's just catch everybody up for any first time viewers. So in terms of prizes here for today, it's a little different than the normal setup here. This is a little different from what's on the right hand side. So the first and second place teams will each get 150 tokens for each player, so 300 total overall. And then 2 more random teams will get themselves the same prizes as well. So today's players will be playing for top positions, but also for fun as well, as that is how we know that it is a casual competition. As well, we'd like to take some time today to promote one of our community members, which is Smacked Crabs, who has got an album coming out soon called Odyssey, a metal album. There's a little bit which she told us about it. It's an album focusing on power, specifically its abuse and the effects of not being in control. Majority of the songs coming from personal experience, releasing in just a few days' time on the 22nd of April. There's a link to the Spotify for him, which I'm just dropping into the chat right now. But please go and support Smack Crabs. Also, a double up, or the duos competition winner from before. So equally on board for everything here today. So, with that out of the way, it's worth noting as well, during the breaks we will be hearing music from Smack Crabs. That will be the only music playing during the breaks here today, so you'll get a good chance to know if his music is for you. We've got a huge show today, but first of all, let me bring in the first of my collaborators for today's shenanigans, and that's going to be Deadly Ghost. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're ready to double up.
Hello. I'm always ready to double up, Counter. Hello to everyone. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. And Counter, I'm happy to be back here after missing out on last time.
Oh, for sure. Well, we couldn't make this work without as many of the veteran instincts that you've pertained to how things are going to be going here today. But you're not the only one here. In fact, there's a load of people here today. Let's introduce special guests for today's tournament. Yuki and the Blonde Unicorn, 2 of our competitors and veterans of the double up scene. You know, the people look to you two for the secrets of double up. So, first of all, just before we get into the more in-depth questions, how are you guys feeling about your chances to make a big impact here today?
Well, Counter, I gotta say, I would say that we have a pretty good chance, but knowing TFT, it's probably like a third.
And comparing to our yesterday's games, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, let's jump into it then. Even if you're being a little pessimistic about your chances of showing off, I imagine for a lot of people watching here, maybe have not even played double up at all. So, in terms of the kind of the basic ground we need to cover here, we've got the idea that you can send each other units and now items as well. You've got shared HP. You've got the reinforcement mechanic coming in as well. From where you guys are sitting, what was the where do you think the players who maybe have never played double up before are most likely to get tripped up?
Well, from watching some of our friends play double up, biggest problem is actually contesting your partner. So even if there is one comp that is leagues above the others, no, you can't both of you play it.
But for example, you can play one unit from your partner if it's not the important one. For example, if one plays techie and other one plays nitro, the techie guy can play like one Shyvana, but that's it, not more than that.
Oh yeah, 100% agree with you guys there. But in terms of uh, double up being changed a little bit and an update, we have one bench slot getting taken away, and you have a couple of new changes. So how do you think double up has improved in that way, and how do you think it has become a little bit more challenging?
Well, the combination of losing a bench slot and also having +2 rounds on the cannon for sending 2-star units has made reroll comps, well, not gonna say worse, but tougher to play, definitely. On the other hand, free armories are just a great addition.
It's just amazing. Like you can get early 5 cost, or I love the one with 3-star 1 cost later in the game. So if you have like space in your team, you can just fit that 3-star 1 cost if there is any sense.
Also, a really good thing about the gift armories being free is you don't have to worry about always keeping that 30 gold before the round, so you can send the tactician's crown, and that can really impact the game if one team has enough money to spend it while the other doesn't.
Yes, I do remember that was a big facet of previous double up is, not knowing what you were going to get and whether or not you need to hold that money back to pay. So zooming out a little bit from the mechanics to the overall picture here today, we've had the duos tournaments in Kansas Casual Competition before, but this is the first time doing double up. Of course, with this being a team game, you have to imagine teamwork is going to be a major factor. Broadly speaking, for you guys, how does sort of teamwork most manifest outside of the straight mechanics in double up?
Well, there is always rolling on the same cost, so if both of you are rolling for 3 costs, for example, one person plays Rengar, other plays Fiddle, the Rengar player is certainly gonna find some Fiddles, and the Fiddle is gonna find some Rengars, as they're rolling on 7 at the same time. But there is also the other way to play it, which is if one person rerolls but needs a high cost, the other person can go fast 9 and find the 5 cost. That was extremely prevalent actually in set 12 with the Dragon Nomsi reroll, where the other person could just get a smolder for the Nomsi reroller.
Here it would be maybe Veigar reroll, so the other person can find Kobuko for Veigar player.
Yes, also there is a strat where you can technically save HP for lost trick trades, as one person that plays the lost trick trade loses, but the other one is relatively strong. So not beating others fast enough to come with reinforcements.
So
Where there,
that person can just be tanky, like strong but tanky. So it doesn't like beat the opponent right away.
for example, the aforementioned Fiddle, which ramped
Yes.
for a long time. Also, the split steal, it goes without saying, but one person should. You can both steal. No, wait, split.
Split,
Sorry.
it's split.
Yeah. Uh, because so one person
Oh,
should
yes.
always say split, in my opinion, because then they deny gold while the other person just gets the flat gold.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, that's actually very insightful.
and also
But
there is. Oh, sorry.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I meant to speak about another really niche strat for teamwork,
Yeah?
which
Go
is
ahead.
actually uh, when three players are alive and only
Three
one team
teams.
is
Teams, not
yeah,
players.
three teams. Sorry.
It's impossible.
Yeah. When one team is before elimination, so 1 HP and red, the one team is really strong. The second place team should just see who they're fighting against, and if they're fighting the first team that's super strong, they just sell the board. So the stronger team just deletes you, comes to reinforcements, and deletes the team before elimination, so you get free second place.
Ah.
Yeah, 100% very insightful, very interesting. I think we have one last question for you guys before the games have to go underway. But what is your general advice on like team dynamics or some any interesting ways where team play can be better utilized, and what do you think is the most important?
I'd say you need voice comms. Voice comms are
Hmm.
very important, and also go for 3-star 4 costs, I guess.
Easiest job in the world.
Yeah, I mean it is
It's
easier.
yeah,
So hey,
it's much easier to hit, and it's like it's strong. We all know
also
that.
also since it is a legitimate win condition, you can go for. You need to watch out for other people's forecasts.
Hmm.
And
All right. Well,
also
thank you both.
play
Oh no.
Aurora.
No, please,
Aurora
Vicky,
is
if you
good.
got.
Because she is while she casts, she's like buying some time for your partner to come and help you in fights.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. We'd love to talk to you guys further. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to at the end of the tournament if everything goes well, because I know you guys got an absolute wealth of experience. Thank you so much for your time, and of course, we'll let you go to get ready to start, because I think everyone is getting ready to start at the moment. So thank you guys so much for coming and talking to us. Yuki and Blonde Unicorn will be keeping a close eye on how this tournament goes for you. But we've got even more items of business, DG, because the cunning individuals that we are, we're going to be bringing in a surprise third caster, because Double Up, of course, needs as many bodies on deck as possible. Welcome to the stream, Luna, joining us for today's event. Wonderful to have you along.
Hello, it's been a little while.
It has been. Luna, have you been able to try out any of this Double Up nonsense for yourself?
I have been playing a good chunk of Double Up this set. Yes, it's. I took a break for a little while, but I'm back with vengeance.
Also, so where are
Ooh.
you? Where are you with it? What's your kind of like view on it at the moment?
I think the changes are really good. I think this is possibly the most fun Double Up's been in a while. I think one of the bigger issues that I had before was when they removed item trading. It kind of made it so that you hit a wall at a point where you're kind of just still getting ruined by your item RNG. Whereas now you can kind of still mitigate that a little bit, along with the, as mentioned, the longer cooldown with bigger trades and etc. I think it's in a better spot than it has been, and it makes it more enjoyable for everybody involved as well.
100% agree with you there, especially because it offers quite a lot more in terms of, team play and trying to maybe trade off items, which is probably one of the biggest things. Oh, I'm missing a component. My teammate has it. I wish I could trade items. Any experienced Double Up player will tell you how many times they've had that happen. I mean, I had that happen to me like just
Sorry,
uh,
DG,
just
we're
last set.
getting word coming in that our first lobby is actually started already, so I'll have to
Ooh.
cut a review there, because we've got coming in, we've got the TFTTs, I now just suddenly realised that might be intended to be something rude. How outrageous.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Is this the... So this is the one with Yuki's board in it. So we've got Team Chunk, which is Snoop and Yurka. Pengalicious, which is Promiscuous and Pantsless Pengu. We've got Theme Tight Factics, which will definitely be easy to say, which is Yuki and Blonde, who we just heard from. And then Hampus and Tiro, who are Hans, Majestat, Congo, and Karl Gustav.
I think it would be easier to just say Han Vile Pokuenge Hogerahan Dropohan Titilio Gogo and be done with it.
Yes.
I don't think I can say either of those things.
Alright, well, let's get this one started then. So again, for anyone who folks are coming in late, this is a 3-round competition. This is the first ever double-up competition being played in Counter's casual competition. And Luna, it looks like we've got a spicy start here because Blonde Unicorn, one of the theme-type Factics, FTF team, let's call them, has already managed to find Cypher early on.
Yeah, alongside that, Street Demon start set up for Yuki as well. This is two really interesting. So, two traits that you don't really see kick in until much later on account of having these three cost units right off the bat in order to get the trait going. And yet somehow we are seeing the hits really early on, which could lead to some very interesting win streaking. Of course, not exactly what you want to see as a Cypher player, but it's workable.
Yeah, and you can probably help out Blonde Unicorn there if you don't go on a massive loss streak, or if you take 1 unit losses like Yuki just did right here. So and even if Yuki does manage to get the win, what matters is that Blonde Unicorn keeps the loss streak first and foremost. But if Yuki is also losing, then there might be a little bit of a struggle for HP later on, but I'm sure an experienced duo like them probably knows that already.
Well, I mean, as I said, it's definitely the riskier path to take, but the more rewarding to preserve HP while keeping the Cypher loss streak intact. But yeah, doubly risky for the double-up situation. Yurka and Snoop, who are Team Chunk. Currently, though, looking like they've got themselves a solid early start. Of course, the Veigar, the new recipient of the ability to crit with his spells. We can see that Yurka's taking advantage of that, building the Guard Breaker immediately. Presumably also a dual gauntlet later on. We know that this competition can end up becoming overwhelmingly strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Cyberboss, in general, it might take a little while to get going, but once you've got it going, if you can get this Veigar through the early stages of the game and just slowly powering up as the game goes, once you start getting to Ziggs and Kabuko, you become terrifying, and I'm already seeing the 2-star Veigar hit there for Yurka. So I'd say it's well and truly on the way.
Yeah, 100%. And once you get to the later stages of the game, if you can get a 4 cyber boss, it's not just the Veigar that you're gonna have to worry about. It's three other units as well. But Veigar as a unit right now has been generally one of the more powerful reroll comps that we've seen so far, at least this patch. So it's pretty much not surprising that at least one person in our lobbies is going to go for it. So it is very interesting. It can be a little bit of a risk because Veigar can fall off to some of these level 9, level 10 boards, which certainly can happen in a double up lobby. But I think it might be a little bit of a calculated risk.
Check in with Thero. Of course, Grinsu's Rage Blade being picked up there. We know, as of the most recent patch, Jarvan getting a lot of love there. Certainly pushing up the power of the Slayer boards overall. So certainly expecting to be seeing that work out well long term. So far, though, as we come to our first carousel, it will be Team Chunk in the blue, who are undefeated so far.
And that's definitely something to kind of start to consider as we come towards the end of stage 2. if you can get through these early stages on that high health and you just continue to power up and force that lead, force that pressure, it starts to get very scary for the rest of the lobby, especially if you have people playing the more scaling compositions like we saw out of Yuki and Blood Unicorn at the start of this game. It can really start to become problematic if you can't start to cut through the top of the board, or the top of the table.
Yeah, it is. It is going to be very, very difficult if for the rest of the lobby, especially if Yerka and Snoop just continue this massive win streak, because while Yuki and Blonde Unicorn are down to 80 HP, which is a little bit concerning, uh, the Pengus and Hampus and Tiro are also below 90 HP. So if they as well continue taking hits of HP, it's going to be a fight of who can take second place, simply because of how much more HP uh, Team Chunk are going to have over them.
Yeah, I really like what we're seeing from Team Chunk so far. Hampus, interesting to see that this particular set. I believe that is with the Street Demons. Unfortunately, they do glow with quite some wild abandon, but I believe that's a Graves in the center there. One thing which we haven't got to see as of yet, because we didn't see any Golden Ox emblems coming through, is the potential of seeing, some kind of really win-out composition like Golden Ox Vertical that can, just completely punch through the ceiling in a very similar way to what the Cypher comps will be looking to try and do as well.
Yeah,
And they could do it much earlier.
Good point. Yeah, looking at it here, it seems like Team Pangolicious have opted to level up a little bit to level 5 and try to contest for a couple of these wins, but yeah, it's going to be very difficult to contest Team Chunk right now, as we're seeing a couple of trade-offs happening, and it does look like Yuki is going uh is going towards that Rengar Executioner comp uh a little bit more than the flat out Street Demon vertical. So it's going to be interesting to see how this develops towards the later stages of the game, because I'm seeing some Rengar items and I'm seeing a Last Whisper, which can later on go onto a Samira or the Graves.
Yeah, we did see a little bit earlier that not the only person running the Street Demon Executioner comp, of course, the Graves that was on the board for, I'm going to be honest, I forget who, which is my bad for having poor memory, I guess. But it is going to be contested, so we'll see who can hit on that first and really start to run away with it, because it is a very momentum-based composition. If you can get it going and keep it going, then Rengar and Graves will rinse through a board, but you'll hit a point where if you fall too far behind, this Rengar will not have the punch through it needs.
Yeah, well, I mean, the variation we're seeing be played here, the Street Demon Vertical, as you mentioned before, DG, rather than the Executioner, it does give a lot more HP to the Rengar, which means that you've got less, it's less like he's going to get eliminated very early in the round, but you're right, the ceiling, I think, will be a little bit lower just from raw damage output. It's enough, of course, to beat out Blonde Unicorn, who has been sitting on the Cypher, successfully lost streaking for the time being.
Yeah, 100%. We have 177 stacks from that Cypher, and you already have 4 Cypher activated for Blonde Unicorn. So if Unicorn can even find a Z here, and magically complete that five Cypher board, that just means that cash out on 3-3 or 4 3-7 or 4-3 is going to be massive. But we have the magic dice roll here, and wow, that's a big one, because Yerka has a fiddlesticks in his shop as well, so that's 7 fiddlesticks already. Wow, that was such a big dice roll.
Gamba. That's my input. Just Gamba.
Oh.
The Gamba giveth sometimes, and sometimes it taketh away. In this case, it definitely giveth.
Yeah, I mean, Yucca's looking pretty good. It's no, for the Team Junk, Snoop and Yucca, they're not undefeated anymore coming into Stage 3, but still looking very strong. Yucca's certainly known as a player who's not afraid to be very aggressive, and DG, we're talking about the pair in yellow right now, the Lost Drinking team, with Yucca and Snoop being so aggressive. You can see Yuki and Blonde Unicorn driven down to almost 50 HP.
Yeah, I mean the problem is here that we have. So Yuki has gone for the street demons and for the Rengar executioner board, but there's also someone else going for that as well. And the thing is, you really want to go on this loss streak, but I think 50 HP might be just a little bit too low. We need to maximize our losses in terms of how many units are left up on the board for the enemies when we take those losses, because it seems to be some hefty losses right now from the side of Yuki and Blonde Unicorn, which can prove to be very detrimental when it comes down to cash out that cipher board or maybe get towards that reroll, because if you have more than one life on you, then great, good for you. But if you're stuck on one life and your reroll doesn't pan out, then that means oof.
Holy early Zeri. Sorry, I got sidetracked by seeing a Zeri on 3-3 there. But yes, no, you are absolutely right. As we can see, both of them just won their combat there, so they are safe for now. But we are hitting that point of troublesome health levels where if you are looking to play the long game, you need to start thinking whether it's time to stop.
Well, I mean, at this point, coming close to Stage 4, we noted already that Yuki and Blonde, the theme tight Factix team, are down to 51. But it's worth noting as well that Hampus and Thero, who are the HMKCG, we'll call them Team Hans. Because that name is just utterly ridiculous. Team Hans, they're also down to almost 50 HP as well. There's a massive separation between the top two and the bottom two teams right now.
I mean, yeah, 100%. 51 versus 94 between the first and fourth place, and then you have the Pangolicious versus Team Hans. 81 HP, 57 HP. It's not looking too good for a Hampus and Thero here, especially because you expect Yuki and Blonde to start having those cash outs, to start going for those rerolls or for those late game comps. So they'll take a few more losses, but then the cash out is going to come in and you expect them to jump forward. But Hampus and Thero, at least from what I'm seeing right now, do not look like they have some of those late game boards or even the semblances of ones that are going to start contesting people. So I think they're the ones in dire straits as opposed to theme tight Factix.
Time shall tell. We'll see when Blonde Unicorn decides to take that cash out. Do they feel like they can hold it another round? The real question here is, you can see Snoop is committing to Divinicorp's Slayer for now. And that Zeri that was there, taken off the board in favor of the Senna. And I've not seen this comp a huge amount. The little I have used Divinicorp has been when the Kane augment has shown its head.
Yeah, this kind of looks like it could even be the last hero augment version of the board, because we've got the enhanced Edge of Night, so we've got 3 different Edge of Nights here for Snoop. I'm assuming that we are going to be, focusing more around those melee carries as things goes on, because that's something where we'd expect to see those getting used. Stuff like the Zed can be very powerful for, but we'll see how it does. Yuki, I think, has been holding the yellow team upright up until this point by trying to make sure those losses aren't too harsh.
Yeah, 100%. Seeing at it here, this Rengar, even though it's a 1 star from Yuki, is still doing so much damage. And yeah, while it is going to get to be a gank here, look at that Rengar just jumping away. And like we said, a 1 unit loss here. Uh, yeah, a 1 unit loss here is just so good for them. And it's already 300, over 300 stacks. And now we have Blonde Unicorn at level 7, so 3 more rounds they can definitely survive that. And at 4-3, I think Blonde Unicorn is going to have an over 400 cash out.
Yeah, I'd say it's most certainly on the cards for it to happen, and I think that is probably the correct time to bring it home, take the cash out, and see just where you're standing in terms of how much your RNG wants to gift you today.
Oh, we see Hampus and Yuki both picking up the 2-star Rengars there, so it looks like any chance of a 3-star Rengar in this game is going to be limited, though of course Yuki doesn't absolutely have to make that happen. So she's definitely put up a lot of itemization in terms of bringing that Rengar online. She'll have to find her strength from, as you can see, the Jinx and the border, maybe the brand a little bit later on. For now though, they're down to sub 40 HP as our Team Purple, Hampus and Thero. So we'll have to see how well they can hold on to the face of the Pengu aggression.
I mean, those Pengus can certainly be extremely deadly. And theme tight tactics are they are struggling to get those wins. But Yuki's Rengar here is doing so much work, taking down the Pengu. Blonde Unicorn is going to take another loss, but Unicorn is fine with a loss, especially if Yuki is getting wins in, because that means there is so much more HP being saved up as the final round of augments comes up.
We'll see just where people decide to go. I'm seeing another Edge of Night augment coming in here for another one of our players. Also running Divinicorp Slayer. It would be an interesting contest.
It looks like they are very much married into the Divinicorp side of things. I'm going to have to quickly look up this particular augment because this one hasn't come up too often. That's one of
I'm not sure what the middle one is.
Let's see, so Divinicorp, this isn't the Board of Directors because that's the one that makes you actually play less Divinicorp. It's Divine Ascension. Gosh, I don't think I've ever gotten this one. After 12 seconds, your Divinicorp champs ascend, gaining 20% health and 30% attack speed. So it's it gives you Shurima.
Oh!
Ah.
Yeah, so, yes, it gives you Shurima, and this is actually the board that, I don't know if you've encountered this, but this should be the board that in the later stages of the game is going to have the Samira with the Divinicorp emblem. So it's the Divinicorp Samira comp that has shown up a little bit. So it's not too much of a prevalent comp because you do require a Divinicorp emblem to activate it. However, if we see a 7 Divinicorp board and it has a Samira on it, it should deal some massive damage.
Good to know. Now, just curiosity, can we check in with Blonde Unicorn? We've just hit that 4-3, leveled up to 8. So I'm curious to see if the cash out has been taken or if we are looking to play a slightly longer game. And if so, where we're standing after the cash out. Cash out has been picked up.
Okay, so we've got the Prowler's Claw. Not ideal. With this kind of stuff. We have got 4 Reforges, so I think with given enough time, Blonde Unicorn will be able to reforge that something that like. Just still want to do a little bit of catch up on business. Thank you very much, DG, as well for the sub, and on Schley TV for the follow as well. We're in our first round of play here today, and the team we heard from before, DG, in FTF, Theme Tight Tactics, Yuki and Blonde, they've taken the riskiest path possible through this game. The question is whether or not it's going to pay off.
Well, right now it's not looking like it's paying off that much, but that's simply because Blonde Unicorn has yet to hit a Z. But yeah, it's a very difficult spot that they're in right now. Hopefully they can come out of it. Blonde Unicorn still has to do a roll down, and no one else is playing Zed outside of the Divinicore Slayers comp. So I think there's still some very good opportunity for Blonde Unicorn to hit that Z2 and get that Cipher buff. But currently we're looking at Yurka, who has also not hit a 3-star Vigar, and despite having 7 Fiddlesticks at 3-2, is yet to hit a Fiddlesticks 3 as well. So the roll down has not been helpful or friendly to Yurka.
No, not at all. Really, really struggling to just pick up that final one. Of course, this Vigar's still incredibly strong, though. Just picked up the Ziggs as well, which will help. But we'll see if the Street Room board from Hampus has what it takes before any ganks come in. Of course, Yurka, we have been seeing Win quite quickly to immediately run to Snoop's side, but it looks like not this time. The board just not quite strong enough to stand up to some of these scaling boards that are coming through.
Importantly, after that round, we saw Hampus getting that win there along with Thero as part of... I'm going to start just calling them colours now because I think it's going to be too confusing otherwise. The purple squad, the yellow squad of Blonde Unicorn and Yuki, they did take another L. They've not gone to Elimination Station yet. They've not down to their single bonus life, which is one of the double up mechanics. But they are very close indeed. You can see Yuki is spending out big. I suspect they both are going all in on this round. If either of them lose, they will go down to their last remaining life.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult. We see a Jinx too actually being sent here. I would have suspected that this would have been a Samira. However, because Yuki had to roll so late, she hasn't even gotten the chance to get a Samira. So it's a decent adaptation, but it looks like Blonde Unicorn actually won very early on because there is that Z, and so now we have Blonde Unicorn winning very early and helping out that uh, helping out that Executioner's board, and also we have best friends here, and the Z and the Javen are sharing stats among them, and those stats are massive and buffed up by the Cipher trait.
Yeah, that they are. We'll see if this Draven 3 can come in, because I think that is the next big thing to look at heading into stage 5. With 2 health remaining, it is do or die time. You have one more loss before you have to start just winning. So the longer you can delay that, the better. Did see just before our last stage as well that Yurka did hit that Fiddlesticks 3. So we are seeing the rest of the lobby level up alongside them.
Yeah, Team Blue, aka Team Chunk, certainly managing to stay head and shoulders above. Along with the Pengus, they're basically on the same HP now, as the gap is starting to narrow between the top and bottom teams. Still though, Blonde Unicorn and Yuki Renna, they've, as you said, they've got effectively 2 lives between them, because if either of them loses the round, they go to Elimination Station. Then if either of them loses the round following that, then they are out.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them because they can't afford as many losses as the other teams there. But the boards are looking very strong from them. Uh, but yeah, it's very difficult, especially because the top boards, while they did take some heavy losses, they are now ramping up very rapidly, and we're seeing here the Chonks and the Pengus both still above 40 HP, whereas I believe Yuki there lost one round, so it is do or die.
definitely gets difficult. The Cypher board is very, very strong, but the Street Demon board being contested makes it so difficult to actually find the units you need to start punching through the upper echelon of the lobby, especially when it is the Rengar is contested on both accounts, which just makes it even more difficult to get to a point where you can just have this carry go off on the enemy.
Well, Yuki and Blonde are down to their last life, with Yuki having taken a loss in the previous round. Yeah, Yerka, you can see there the full power of his battle station unleashed. Vega up to the 3-star because he's doing his true damage, he's critting up as well. There won't be a tank in the land that can stand up against him, but maybe raw DPS will be the key. Vega goes unit by unit, but Thero gets the job done with a multiple carry backline.
We have our first elimination.
We do have our first elimination. Team Tide Tactics have been eliminated, so it seems like Blonde Unicorn managed to get the win, but Yuki could not survive because of the contest on that Street Demons executioner board. And sadly, that means that Theme Tide Tactics are going to be eliminated. To be fair, though, it is a very tough lobby to go and play into. But yeah, the Cypher cash out wasn't the greatest, and it really didn't help that Yuki was contested there. So we're going to wish Yuki and Blonde Unicorn a lot more luck in their next games, as we do see the team Pengu has taken over the lead, and Yurka and Snoop have started to slowly go down the ranks in HP.
That they have. We've seen Yurka struggling to pick up the wins in a couple of their matches so far. This one not going to be any different, as the Pengus come to each other's aids and stand as one at the top of this board. The Vinicourt board not quite as strong as it could be. No Samira come through just yet, but it is definitely getting on up there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yuck and Snoop, Team Blue, Team Chonk, they're getting a little bit sandwiched between the two remaining teams. The Pengus are too strong to get past, and Thero and Hampus, otherwise known as HMKCG. Let's just call them Team Purple. I'm completely giving up at this point. Team Purple, they're starting to rise in power as well, so I think we might be seeing the blue team getting squeezed out of the middle.
Yeah, a little bit, but also Counter. Who doesn't love saying Team Hans Majestat Konungen Karl Gustav every single time we see them?
Me.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it does seem like Yurka and Snoop are going down the ranks.
It's better worth mentioning here, though. Kabuko 2 for Snoop. Taking it away from the Cyberboss player, who, if memory serves, is his own teammate.
Yep. I mean, maybe he's planning on sending it at some point, but time is running out here. You can see that I believe we can see when the cannon is ready, though we'll have to confirm that's the case. Right now, though, it looks like it's good enough for now. Hampus, along with Thero, will be getting the reinforcements charging in, so we get a little bit of extra action, and Hampus goes down. It's not quite a single life for the Purple Squad.
Not close enough to get them to their last lives, but we see there Yurka has hit the 4th Cyber Boss and has hit Vagar 3, so that means that board is online, and we're dealing a lot more damage. So Hampus, with the elimination of Yuki, has managed to hit a lot of 3-stars in this Street Demon Executioner board, and can now actually deal the massive damage that this board is meant to do, but is unfortunately going up against Yurka here.
We'll see if they can stand up or if they will fall to their last lives. The Street Demon composition is strong, but the Rengar just gets ripped through. This Vigar is so terrifying. the 2-star Ziggs alongside it, and this Fiddlesticks that just doesn't die. Team Purple will drop down to their last legs. Asthiro is win streaking. Hampus is finding it difficult to find an avenue to keep bashing the game forwards.
Well, of course, Blonda and Yuki were talking to us about this before. The idea of, not just game tempo, but in terms of round tempo for the team you're playing here. With Thero's board, we've got Zeri who can ramp up into an absolute menace and kill basically anything, but something she doesn't really do is finish rounds quickly and allow for Thero to get across and reinforce Hampus in time.
Yeah, that's a really valid point. We do have Zeri that can ramp up very easily. As those 2 Kobukos would look very nice on Yurka's board, but yeah. Zeri too, has the 7 Exotech, has that extra bit of power, but like you said, she doesn't cut down everything very quickly. And it really is on Hampus to sort of either beat down straight up the enemy board, or have to survive until can just defeat everyone and then come to the board. But it hasn't been happening, at least not in recent rounds.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This death by 1,000 cuts style that Zeri takes does not translate well into double up. With how quickly some boards can win and just appear. Speaking of appearing, both sides are coming across to this one. We have 2 teams on last legs now. And it's just all out chaos.
Ooh.
And just about death by 1,000 cuts.
Wow. I mean, that's huge. It means Team Purple stay alive. The Pengus, Team Pink, go onto a single life themselves, while Team Blue at the top down to a couple. We're coming down to a very close finish here, but it might well be if the Pengus have this is going to be the big thing here. If we've got 2 teams on elimination station each, it's going to matter by how much they lose the next round, if indeed they do. So if both teams have a member drop out, it'll be who has the lowest HP cumulatively at the end of the round, determining who goes second or third.
Yeah, elimination thresholds and all that, but looking at it here, one of the Pengus is also contesting that Zeri board, so we have 2 death by 1,000 cuts boards, but it seems like the straight up raw power of the Divinicorp is saying death by 1,000 cuts, you won't even get to 100 cuts there, as I'm going to slice you and dice you down. And it looks like Team Pengu is going to be getting eliminated, as well as Team Hans, Majestat, Konungen, Carl Gustav, which means that Team Chonk are going to take game number 1 in what was a thrilling game 1.
And it was. Health bars got so incredibly low for every single team. And not to mention that, but it very nearly ended the way it started, with teams in the order they were in for the majority of the game, until the final upset where both Pengus have to take the knee to their opposition, ended up dropping about double the health of our second place team.
And Colwood, our observers, confirming for us that Team Chunk, the eventual winners there, did take out both of the opposing teams during that final round. So that is a real victory lap for them. Astonishing stuff, and I think we get a little bit of a taste of just how wild these double up games can get. But gentle friends, we're going to head ourselves to a short break while we get set up for our second of our 3 rounds here today. And of course, we'll be reseeding to get our players in place for those lobbies yet to come. So stay tuned, and we'll be back as soon as possible as Kansas Casual Competition continues.
is not meant for sentimental. I know it's not what you meant. Kept with an arm reach, the call is unleashed. The freedom I wish is never said. The life I've been gifted, the hope has been sifted. Don't tighten the collar around my neck. A light and unfruitful, a tool never useful. A thing to show off, yet to resent. A cry in the shadow, alone always have to. The pressure leaves me a record hang from medallion around my neck. Is not meant for self-sentimental. I know it's not what you meant. What you meant, but now I see you drag me since my first step.
Welcome back, everyone, to Canada's Casual Competition Double Up First Premier Edition. Linus had to step away, but we thank you so much for coming and joining us for the first round. So, just you and me, DG, for the rest of today to get round 2 underway. I mean, we're still, I think, a little reeling based on how wild that first game went, particularly how explosive the tail end of the game got.
I mean, just going up from it. We were talking about potentially 3 teams being on 1 life and all that, and then all of a sudden, Team Chunk just said, "Us getting so low on HP, never," and decided to eliminate both of the other teams immediately. And then, well, yeah, we literally saw Yurka and Snoop just say, we're two past finalists. Let's show these people what we got. And yeah, the upgrades were hit, the boards were strong, and the game was won.
Yeah, it was, say, think it speaks a lot to just the way that Double Up works. They'll be able to play strong early on. Definitely feels like, from what we saw in the first game, that's the way to go. But I believe we've got a little bit of an eye into some of the other lobbies that were taking place while we were watching our stream lobby. So let's see if that holds true. So we've got the Senior and Chad. I'm just going to quickly check as to which team is which. So this was from, let's see, so Senior and the Chadster, where are you? Oh, that's right, from Table 5. So this is Team Churro. They won up the whole lobby. It looks like, DG, that they did go pretty heavily towards the the tail end, the big legendary boards.
Yeah, we do have some. So it looks to be a Boombot plus legendary soup, and Chad Chatser went for an Anima Squad board here. I'm guessing one of the augments was Coronation, because I'm seeing a Tactician's Crown there on that Aurora.
Oh yeah, no, I think that seems reasonable, and yeah, it's interesting to see the Boombot being the choice there. Certainly not expecting to see that one going through. We see the second place in that lobby going for the 2-cost reroll. Nefiri, after being buffed repeatedly in the previous patch, definitely starting to make a bit more of an impact. But I believe we've got one more lobby to see if this pattern of late game in first and reroll in the second will hold. Because, oh no, there we go. Got a little sneaky peek of our the Odyssey album there that's coming in. But I think overall, DG. Oh, there we go. As we look at this one, so we've got Elemental Alchemist with the 3-star Misfortune, but I think, this is not the hyper late game focus we saw in the last time round, but instead 4-cost reroll that Yuki and Blonde tagged as being very possible to bring to a 3-star 4-cost.
I mean, yeah, they did say 3-star forecast and you win the game, and it certainly did happen here. The MF didn't even have 3 items, doesn't need them. It looked like it was a Twisted Fate reroll that turned into an MF3 board, which Twisted Fate even getting nerfed this patch, but it doesn't matter because MF is there to pick up the slack.
Alright, so let's take a look at our leaderboard overall then. Come at the first game, of course, the maximum points at this point are still relatively low, but this will influence the seeding going forwards. Of course, teams that do well will then go on to face up against other teams that do well. So we can just see the very top here, and our top performing players. So Double Trouble, losing to 300 ping, Fatal and Max, Team Chong and Team Churro all getting the first round wins in, along with Storm Raiders and the Autumn Moons. So they'll all be playing against each other, or of course, no, sorry, I'll retract that one. Because of this being 4 team lobbies, they won't all be playing against each other, but everyone who's got the similar record will be. So this round, DG, is a big difference maker in terms of your ability to win the competition. If you do well here, you get up to table 1, you fight for the championship. If you don't do so well, you'll have to lick your wounds and try and come back another time.
Well, I mean, it is double up, so the points distribution are a little bit more forgiving if you're playing a duos tournament or a singles tournament. So even if you don't get first or get second here in the premier lobbies, you might still have a shot at taking the crown if you do well in your game number 3. So a first, second into a first could potentially lead to a massive a massive sweep of the victory crown here. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, and especially because these have been our top performing teams. So it's going to be a very nice to see how they match up against each other and what tactics they will employ.
So yes, we're going to be going to table 1 for our next game. As I believe we'll be seeing there Chris Pan and Wright the Third playing as part of Rykolini. We have Team Drunken Fist, which is Mr. Duck and Pills, an aptly named team. If we know them as well as we do. Then we've got the Team Hans, Hampus and Thero, and Team Indigo Power, Awesome Sauce and Indigo coming in. So this will be, let's see, I believe this will actually be our very, very top table. So this should be
table
pretty
3.
intense. Oh no, is it not? Oh, my apologies.
It's table 3, yes. Wet Noodles, our admin, just giving us the update on everything.
Yes. So my apologies. All right. So wow, I think this is a good time to revert to what you were mentioning before, actually, DG, because this was in flux before the tournament started. So the scoring methodology here, in that if your team wins, you get 8 points, but if your team becomes in dead last, you get 5 points. I think you point out really well that actually in this tournament especially, there's a lot less distance gained by coming in first in your first game compared to how it would normally work.
Yeah, 100%. Teams not doing their best in game number 1, for example, like Team Theme Tactics, can still come back and maybe try and contest for one of the prizes. So the points are a little bit more forgiving, but like you said, it still looks like it's going to be a very fun game number 2, because in game number 1 we had a lot of shenanigans, a lot of gameplay, but I don't think that that's the last of the shenanigans we're going to see.
Oh no, I think we're going to be seeing so many shenanigans they will eclipse the stars. I mean, in terms of overall game strategy, we've seen already that there's coming to this, we've got the two broad ideas that either re-roll on the same cost or re-roll and have someone push 8. It seems like we're actually seeing in the reality of the cold light of day that a lot of teams are just pushing 8 as a unit and saying, you know what, maybe we won't be that strong early on, even in this reroll meta, but our late game combined together will be enough to get that first place.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe in someone like the case of Yurka, who, well, let's face it, he got the biggest luck draw of his life with those 6 fiddlesticks, and he was still struggling in the middle there. As one sec. Excuse me.
I thought you were trying to be very emphatic with what you're saying, but sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. Excuse me there, but yeah, I guess I'm allergic to not having 3 stars on the boards, which Yurka didn't have for a long time, as I was making my point. And it took him a while, but once he hit those 3 stars, then we saw that that reroll board was just deleting everything and everyone.
I'll just catch you up a little bit on the Twitch chat. Thank you for the follow, Dark Alchemist. Speedster, will there be more double up tournaments in the future? Absolutely. So there's 3 weeks before the next one, which will be a singles, and then 2 weeks before the next one. So the next tournament, which will be double up, will be on the 24th of May. So if you've got yourself a double up partner to practice with, that's the one to line up for in the future. Pills is letting us know that oh, thank you very much, production. Okay, May 24th. So put that one in your diaries if you're going to be practicing and getting your team ready for that one. The Pills is letting us know that there's a double Builder Bud start for him and Mr. Duck, which honestly, I can only imagine it's going to be fantastic. So hopefully we'll get a chance to go and see that for ourselves in a second, because we'll be getting our second round kicked off in a moments away. But I mean, DG, it sounds like what we're about to see is one of those opportunities which just wouldn't be there in regular TFT. The chance to find not just a complementary approach to the game overall, but actually complementary augments that can play well with each other.
Yeah, 100%. If you find two build-a-bots, for example, which pretty funny, I do have to say so myself. But just imagine that someone already has a very strong board, and what if you send that 3-star build-a-bot to your ally, especially if it's a unit that they need. That would just mean that one of your teammate one of the team already has the massive board that's going to win throughout the whole stage 2, and the other person would simply field maybe a more tanky comp like Yuki said, and just wait for their friend to come in there. But I believe we are getting into game very soon, Counter, unless someone says otherwise.
Yeah, so upcoming lobby will be Annie, aka All Gods. I still haven't quite memorized all of the different ones which we got on display here, but we're getting there piece by piece. It's still a very new set. So we are coming into lobby we mentioned before. So we've got Team Yellow, aka Drunken Fist, Mr. Duck and Pills, those double Build-A-Bud. I love your point about using the Build-A-Bud and sending both of them to a single player. We'll have to check out if Team Yellow have complementary one cost, because they're not necessarily ones that could be played on the same board, but if they can be, then I 100% agree with you. That would be ludicrously powerful.
Yeah, it's something that you love to see, especially because it would prove how much you are well versed in the art of teamwork. But sometimes TFT players can be very selfish in their own right and only look for their own board. So yeah, looking for the best team team play is going to prove extremely beneficial.
Oh, my apologies. I got a little bit baited by Pills in the chat. I thought he was saying the team actually had got a double Build-A-Board start. As it turns out, that's not the case, because that's not even possible. But what we do have here is a golden start, of course, with this being Annie. So we'll see if at least the Yellow squad are able to find a strong early start. Spoils of War coming in. We have got what could be a strong start here for Shaco for Pills. So his itemization isn't perfect, and going to level 4 suggests that this is a short-term destination.
Yeah, I honestly would have liked to see Mr. Duck maybe go for 2-trick, because I believe that's what he had, and maybe see if he would get something to send to Pills, because that would be the ultimate team play augment. However, we are seeing a little bit more of a selfish start, but you live and you learn. Also, you have cooking pot here for, I believe that's Indigo. Yeah, that's Indigo. Indigo Lila has that cooking pot start, and that's a very powerful Anima Squad board getting fielded early on.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see if we can get some players getting the Anima Squad working. Certainly, it's been a little up and down with them, from being hyper dominant to, I think, dropping out somewhat of the regular ranked play, at least as much as they used to be, just because of how powerful the rerolls have been. We do see here, as we check in with Awesome Source, though, managed to find its way onto very early executioners, and one thing we see as well is the items being swapped across. A little indicator there showing that Awesome Source can send an item component, but they have to get back an item component before they can send again.
Yeah, 100%. And I do believe, Counter, that we have the executioner's augment here as well coming in. So it seems like Awesome Sauce is going to be building up their economy quite a bit uh, with all of that extra power. However, it does seem like Bills is getting a little bit of extra help by Mr. Duck, who does have that powerful Anima Squad board. And looking at it here, Bills might be getting contested by Chris.
Yeah, I mean, the having the Starry Night, I think, means that Chris basically just has the ability to say, if I want to get this reroll, if I want to win this race between the two of us, I'm going to do so. So hopefully Pills has got the opportunity to bring things in a different direction. Do want to just touch on what you mentioned though with Awesome Source and the Executioners. I believe that's a cut purse coming in, so that means a extra chance of dropping gold based on the crits. Given that Awesome Source has managed to find 3 Executioner early on, that means he's going to be proccing that much more often than normal and building up that economy to go for the deeper reroll.
Yeah, it is. It is going to be a level 7 reroll for Awesome Sauce there as well. So it's going to be extremely important that Awesome Sauce gets a lot of those crits in and a lot of that gold in, because you want to get to level 7 as quickly as possible. You want to start rolling down as quickly as possible, because some of the units that you require in that executioner board uh, is some of the units that you get from that executioner board are actually units that some of these other boards can use as well. So just getting your hand on a little few extra copies is going to be so important.
Once we check back in with Hampus, you mentioned the too much value from before. Hampus staying at lower level. The first time we are seeing for ourselves the Nitro. It looks like we might be seeing a Nitro Exotech board coming together. Corbin, I don't know if we can check what the Exotech items are here. I know it's a lot less of an issue for a lot of the boards to go for this kind of line either way. But right on the other side, it looks like, DG, we go from seeing no Nitro to now seeing 2 different players trying to run it in the same game.
So yeah, one board is looking towards the cat dog board, as it hasn't been aptly named, uh, and the other one looks like to be going for a little bit more towards the marksman. So it's going to be very interesting, as we do see our first gold dealership, and you can either split 10 gold or gain 6 gold, and it's always a risk to go for the split, because if a lot of people choose to split, yeah,
Yeah,
like right now.
this is one of the ones where splitting doesn't seem to make any sense. The only real reason you might do it is you just think other people might, because yeah, if 2 people split, then you get less gold than if you hadn't done it. So I'm honestly surprised to see 4 players splitting, but it does at least take a little bit of gold out of the economy. To check back in the one thing which I did want to flag here, actually. So Wright is on the team with Chris Pans, and of course, we saw from Chris Pans before, they had the Starry Night augment. If we're talking about kind of unique kind of setups which can help enable a squad, Chris Pans having Starry Night means that they will be able to not just Starry Night for Syndicate Twisted Fate like we saw before, but also for Nitro units as well to send.
Yeah, and that's actually really beneficial for both boards, because while the cannon will limit you to how many units you can send, because you're going to be rerolling on level 6 and level 7, you can hit a lot of those 1 and 2 costs very efficiently, and so it's going to be extremely important to get a lot of those rerolls done, and have in mind that you are also rolling down to find copies for your teammates. So Starry Night can potentially have double the value or potentially be twice as useless.
I mean, I'm certainly expecting it to be strong, but I mean, Team Yellow here, Duck and Pills, they are looking strong. We certainly saw this in our first game, the Vagar board, particularly with Spoils of War. If the itemization could just come together a little bit more for Pills, he can start really rocking and rolling. They've got, Mr. Duck's on a win streak, which will help make sure that Pills gets enough time to proc the Spoils of War, hopefully, and keep this board afloat.
Yeah, I mean, it is looking like Pills pivoted a little bit out of the Shaco because he wasn't getting many copies and he saw that he was getting contested. So it does look like it's up to Vagar, especially because no one is playing Vagar. I think this is a good decision from Pills. But the thing is, Thero on level 5 has a 2-star Rengar, which means Pills is going to take a massive loss here. But yeah, another reroll board in the making. But Pills is really gonna have to be to be really lucky because otherwise these roll downs are not going to pan out for him.
Alright, on to our second one. Remember, of course, they are gold across the entirety of this game. Right now we can see that Team Blue and Team Yellow are currently got one win streaking player apiece, but Team Blue taking the lead. That's Hampus and Thero. Team Hans, we can see the Hextech items here, so we do have the bow in the mix, of course, newly the best item for Zeri to be running. I think Hampus will be relatively okay with how this one's going. Of course, it's got those bonus rerolls kicking in as well, so should be hitting ahead of schedule.
Yeah, 100% with you there. The hollow bow. So that means that it is going to have to be 5 exotech. So you really are going to bank on getting an exotech emblem here, perhaps because 5 exotech and if you want to field 4 nitro is going to be very very difficult, especially when you also want to go for rerolls. So
Well, something that's jumping out
it's
to me as interesting is that Hampus has gone level 6, which is not what you traditionally expect to see going for a reroll. So, I mean, you're getting more rerolls, sure, out of the too much value, but I wonder if maybe we're seeing this be more of a tempo stop for Hampus rather than necessarily wanting to build out, that big laser lizard that you were talking about.
yeah, probably realized because there's another plane going for nitro. He maybe wants to stop the reroll and maybe start thinking about that level 8 board, and we might just see Hampus forgo nitro altogether in the late game and just keep them for the early game because it's a decent early game comp, but time will tell, and we'll see what happens. As Indigo has she has made created a Dynamo emblem, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, this is really interesting because you get an absolute ton of extra mana from there, but a lot of the Dynamo units are fairly weak. You can see the Morgana there. It doesn't really do a ton, so long term for Indigo Ella, she'll have a great board later on once she can pump a bunch of extra mana into, say, a 2-star legendary unit, but it will suffer in the immediate. And DG, we're seeing in this game, speaking of the immediate, if we come to Carousel, we're in a similar spot to what we saw before. One team, in this case, what sort of 1.5 teams up at the top, doing really well, and then a massive drop off in HP to the 3rd and 4th place teams.
Yeah, 100%. Hampus and Tiro are essentially learned from what happened to them in game number 1 and said, okay, so we're going to do what Yerk and Snoop did to us, but to everyone else. And to give Mr. Duck and Pills credit, they've been keeping up in HP, even though they lost that massive win streak. But yeah, uh, team Rykolini and Team Indigo Power are really struggling at the moment. But they have the makings of some very powerful late game boards. So if they can get towards those late game boards and have that massive impact, then they're 100% going to have some much better boards that in the late game than, for example, f- uh than maybe Yuki and Blonde had when they got eliminated so early on.
Yeah, you definitely, particularly at this point in the competition where you're close to this kind of spot where you can conceivably get in and fight for the title here. Remember, the top two teams, they're both going to be able to get guaranteed prizes. We have two more teams randomly assigned. No matter if you come third or dead last, you've got the same chance of winning the prizes. Mr. Duck will take the hit there, Pills taking the win, so Team Yellow managed to maintain position. I was taking a quick look up and seeing what the augment was here. This is the power leveling augment that Mr. Duck has in place here, so it's got the effect of when you get the kill or the takedowns for Anima Squad, they've got a chance to drop themselves these extra XP orbs that will help push levels. Of course, that only really applies if you're getting kills.
Yeah, and the thing is, we already saw that the Vayne Vanguards was getting played here by, we did see Syndicate Slayers getting played, and so I'm wondering why Mr. Duck has opted to go for that Vayne reroll instead of slamming towards maybe seven Anima Squad. As we see, Counter, my eyes are not deceiving me. That's a Z2 at level 7 on 3-6.
Yeah, it looks like Chris has decided to abandon ship on the whole Syndicate reroll idea. Maybe just because the items were much more favourable towards the AD side. You can see on the other side, of course, Mr. Duck's board with the veins of his own. I'd be really curious to see if this works out for Chris overall. Because as we see, the vein from Mr. Duck, I believe that is the 3-star vein. I don't know, Corbin, if you can confirm that is the case. But it looks like Mr. Duck has been able to build up a pretty damn strong board. And we get the confirmation right there.
This is so powerful. It's a Vayne 3 with category 5. If possible, Corvette, can we take a look at Pills? Because I believe that Pills has a 3-star Vagar as well and has 50 gold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Pills has managed to high roll a little bit.
Yeah, he got his own
we were talking. He got his own Starry Night, and we were wondering, Counter, whether Pills would be able to hit. However, the second round of augments with Starry Night just said, hold my drink, and I'll just give him the 3-star Vagar.
I don't know. I don't know if I feel super confident with this for Pills. Just because, Spoils of War, great. It's ultimately an economy augment, because it doesn't give you any board power. Starry Night, great, gets you your Vagar 3 online much faster. But that's still the majority of your augments taken without any put towards combat power. I wonder what this is going to mean for Pills later on, once we start to see these extreme late game boards and, functionally 2 of his augments don't do anything.
Yeah, you are 100% there, correct to be worried, because we have these Vanguard boards that are slowly ramping up. This Z2 that has ramped up, so the third round of augments has to be something combat or combat adjacent that is going to help out Pills, because he's already starting to struggle a little bit against this Z, but boy does that Vagar deal damage.
And this isn't even the Vagar who's built for specifically bursts, as we've seen come back into popularity. Let's see. We'll keep scouting around the places. It's worth noting that while we've been discussing all the rest of this, Right the Third has gone down to 26 HP along with Chris Pans. the other member of the squad. It does seem like the contested Nitro has been a bit of a poison chalice, and Wright has actually abandoned ship on that idea entirely and gone straight into vertical exotech instead.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to go into vertical exotech just to try and play for that play for that late game. But I'm seeing the sword there on the Neferi instead of on the Zeri, which it's a little bit confusing for me. Maybe it's because of the Exo deck, but yeah, yeah, the Exo deck is going to help out a little bit here for right, but that's a three, that's a almost a 3-star Rengar there, and Awesome Sauce certainly has is goated with the sauce because that's looking like a very strong board to go up against.
So I believe, yeah, I believe the reasoning is there is because we've got Cyberdeck, one of the specific augments for the Exotech in play, which means that now only 2 of your Exotech units get a bonus item just for carrying two items at all, which means you can spread out your items a little bit more across the board and make sure that Izeri still has enough to keep herself up and fighting. But in for Awesome Sauce here, the cut purse board, it looks like, DJ, we saw 3 Executioner coming in from very early on in this game. It looks like it's actually remained in place for the majority of this game.
Yeah, and also Awesome Sauce had a 2-star Rengar at the end of stage 2. And since then has only found 2 extra Rengars. So, I was thinking Awesome Sauce is going to hit and Pills is going to, miss on those rerolls, but the complete opposite has happened where we've virtually seen no Rengars for Awesome Sauce, and Pills managed to hit 3-star on a lot of things, and yeah, it's not looking like Awesome Sauce has had the best of rerolls.
No, and I think we've seen a lot of what we saw from the previous game, which is that contesting at all seems to be, even with the unit sending going on, it still seems to be very, very risky. So checking in on our overall game state again, Hampus's squad, Team Hans, aka the blue team, the teardrop team, you can see on the right hand side, 85 HP, pulling pretty far ahead of Team Yellow, and of course massively far ahead of Team Pink and Team Purple, who are both sub 30 HP.
Yeah, 100%. Looking at it here, uh, it doesn't look like anyone barring Pills and Mr. Duck can probably uh, get the HP to contest everyone, but yeah, it's not looking too well for Team Purple and Team Pink. We do see for Dynamo being online here for Indigo Ella, and that means that while we do have as well Syndicate as well here, so that's the misfortune being one of the cyber bosses. So it means that this 4 Dynamo board, the mana stacking is online, but it's you still need a couple of those upgrades.
Yeah, no, I think missing the sword to make the Infinity Edge, it does mean you're very, very reliant on Misfortune in sweeping some of the board early on. I think Ella's in a little bit of trouble, along with Awesome Sauce, both of them losing the previous round, I believe. Which means that their team as a whole is in some pretty major trouble, taking a late game focus and suffering for it. Over on this side of things, though, we do see Thero, their teammate Hampus, able to pick up and grab hold of an early Urgot. Means that now 4 Executioner is online. We were talking before about how this Executioner board has sort of been struggling to find all the units it needs. But this could be a big turning point that reinforces the blue team at the top.
Yeah, and also because of the early Urgot, and if we can find an early Vex as well, you don't have to roll down for all of your 3-star 3 costs here in for your 3-star Rengar. It does help, but you're not obliged to do it once you've hit the Urgot and the Vex. And it looks like Thero while is going to take a loss here, does still have a lot of gold left, and is, I believe, Tiro is just going to reroll to level 9 here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Tiro is level 9. Can look for that. Can look for that Vex. And be very safe. Uh, and is going to roll down at 9. I'm assuming. Whereas here we have Mr. Duck, who leveled up to 8, does not have the 7th Anima Squad to put in, so we're missing a Zaya or an Aurora. And once you get that 7th Anima Squad, that's when this board can really start performing well. But Mr. Duck has 0 gold, and I don't think he really wants to reroll now.
We're left on a
Oh, there we
point
go.
there we go. Fantastic. So we've got the last upgrade coming in. We've got items ready for Zaya to go immediately, but we're in an interesting spot for Pills and Mr. Duck, where you just said that economically they're a little out of gas here, and I suspect they are waiting to see if Indigo, Ella, and Awesome Source drop out early, giving them enough space to be able to then build up and put themselves back in. Actually going face to face against Awesome Source in this particular round of Team Indigo Power. Perhaps Mr. Duck will get the chance to do the dirty work himself.
Yeah, perhaps. This Rengar is proving to be very tanky here, but there's also an Urgot for Awesome Sauce on level 7, so that means that Awesome Sauce has leveled up this board and is now dealing so much damage here. And it is going to be a loss for Team Thero and Hampus as well. So this lobby is starting to look a lot more closer than it was a couple of rounds ago, Counter.
Well, yeah, particularly for anybody who's not in the top team, I think it's starting to turn much more into a brawl, as we've got 25 gold on random artifact item. Personally speaking, a random artifact for me, it seems so much less reliable and in terms of, power to your board than 25 gold, but perhaps some of our players are more adventurous than me.
Well, if you're down to your last life, you probably want to take that. You probably want to take that gold there if you need to reroll. But there are certain risk takers who like to gamble away and go for that artifact gamble. But I 100% agree with you there. I would definitely go for that artifact, as we do see the Zed took down the Vayne, but the Zaya said, "I shan't lose," and Mr. Duck delivering there a loss to Ella there, putting Team Pink on their last life, and Team Purple has been put down to their second to last life. So it does seem like the HP saving from Team Yellow and Team Blue could prove to be beneficial here, as one as one extra loss for Team Pink would mean a certain elimination.
I mean, certainly the yellow squad have been able to keep their heads above water pretty damn well to get to this point with 4 Cyber Boss to enable, maximum output. I really like that we've got the Thieves' Gloves for the Kabuko, and we've even got the chance to push more power through the Ziggs as well. Should have been very impressive. I have to think that Pills' board should be strong enough. Indigo Ella on the other side, you can see she was struggling to find the Infinity Edge before, decided to go for a dual gauntlet instead, which I think is a very valid option under the circumstances, but this could very easily be our first elimination of round 2.
It does look like it, and it is going to be, as Team Pink is going to get eliminated. They took double losses, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, Team Pink getting eliminated in 4th place. The Cyber Boss board from Pills proving to be way too strong for anyone else here, as we see a Syndicate emblem, but it's coming in a little bit too late for Indigo.
I do want to kind of return to the previous point though, with Indigo and Awesome Sauce being eliminated early on. I think that we can definitely take with the idea that you've got the sending of units backwards and forwards, that generally the double up boards are stronger earlier than you'd expect them to be under normal circumstances. And Dynamo is a composition that's generally been falling out of favor because it takes such a long time to really realize its full potential. I think it was a risk too far for Team Pink in this game, and they paid for it. Purple team are not far off either, though it's worth noting that Pills and Mr. Duck have dropped down a lot since we last saw them. It seems like Team Purple have been putting up a fight.
Yeah, 100% there. You have Team Purple who have been putting in quite a bit of the work, and that's not to say that Pills and Duck haven't hit their boards. It's just that Team Purple have hit a couple more powerful versions of their boards, and Team Blue have also been taking significant losses because they had a massive health lead, and they still do. However, it's way below that 80 slash 90 health that they had at the beginning of the game.
Pills and Mr. Duck will drop now into third place overall with Wright and Chris. That is Team Raikolini managing to both win out the previous round. It's going to be a tough time for the yellow squad to stay afloat. I mean, Team Blue, Thera and Hampus, they've got the HP to soak some losses here. For Pills and Mr. Duck, this could well be the end of the line.
Yeah, it certainly could be, and I believe this is Chris's board. I don't know who else had the reroll board outside of the vein reroll outside of Mr. Duck, but yeah, it does seem like this board has stabilized very nicely. But help is on the way, and Hampus takes down Team Purple to 1 life, and Team Yellow has also been taken down to 1 life. So this means that it's a gruesome battle for second counter.
I mean, this is amazing news for Team Hans, though. The blue squad, Hampus and Thero, with all of their opponents on elimination point, it means that, if a team loses either member in any round, they're out entirely. There's a decent chance we could be seeing what we saw in Game 1 as well, where both teams opposing them get knocked out in a single round.
Yeah, may as well could be, and it's going to come down to who has the stronger board to survive at this point, and not even win, just survive, because we are seeing here that Pills actually has a very powerful board, but the bigger problem is your teammate in Mr. Duck was taking very steady losses. So if it's not, if you can't beat out the board as Pills here to help out Mr. Duck, then it just means that your team is going to suffer a hefty loss, and you're going up against Hampus here, who has that Aurora 2 and that Zeri 2, so that means that this board is really powerful. But look at that Vagar damage, deleting everything in its path.
Oh, hold my breath to see if both of them stay alive. Mr. Duck does take the L. The team is done, even if Pills have won that round. And we'll see Team Yellow crashing out. But I think Chris Mans is also gone, so that will be, if I understand the UI directly, yes. No, my apologies. It looks like I was a bit misled. We still got a little bit of fight left in for Wright and Chris Mans. They've secured second place overall, but now neither of them can afford to lose a single round going forwards if they're going to win the lobby.
And I mean, well, they're looking very strong. That's 4 3-star, 4 3-stars. You have 7 Zeds here as Wright, and as Chris. And if Wright can find a few more Zeds to send here, that means that it's going to be a 3-star Zed. But it could just be the last fight of this game. if Chris doesn't do well.
This one looks like it's in hand, so keep an eye on the right-hand side to see. Oh no! I spoke too soon! The Zerage is so hard to track towards the tail end, so it will be Hampus and Thero winning out here in Lobby 3 of Round 2, which of course
Right.
will propel them to the very top. And of course, importantly, DG, having matching little legends there to make sure your victory pose is the most on point it could be.
Victory pose, something come on Vogue. But yeah, yeah, right, also getting eliminated there by Thero as well. So Hampus and Thero just having that little bit of extra power over everyone else. And I mean, yeah, from the moment that Mr. Duck and Pills lost that health lead, Hampus and Thero took the lead, and they never let go of it.
Yeah, I think it's just too competitive of a lobby, honestly, to have their opponents survive in any great numbers. But, gentle friends, we have only one more round to show you here today. The first ever double-up competition barrels towards its conclusion. We'll be back after a short break with our top and final lobby, as we will crown our championship team and secure the first and second place prizes for them, as well as do our giveaways to end out today's stream. So stay tuned, me and DG will be back after this break is done.
Say that same way, you make me crawl beneath the red line. Say that say don't like to me or under you alone. Say that same way, you make me plunge to your betray. So say that say don't turn from me, you cannot ever take my right away. Bow till you lay, wicked my way, and I say pain, lesson in vain, until I reign, follow and let to live my way. Do I do when you make the words from take you from me, so do I do and learn to live another daily through. Do I do when you make me learn and I've become a new so good I do, and I think you be living with a little bit of you. Black falling through, no hope for you, and a shame. Pain, lessons in vain, until I reign, follow and let to live my way. That same way will face the end of the day and comes for you, so do that same way will face the third and the true love. Do that same way will show your pain, your passion, in command, and do that same way will face the cosmic price you have to pay. So do that same fake, leave the one who live the perfect path. So do that same fake, fake the trust which you give me. Do that same way in case the times but come to do play. So do that same way, give the grammar and you must do understand. Never away, ever you'll stay. This I say, pain, lesson in vain, until I reign, follow and let to live my way. is not meant for, still sentimental. I know it's not what you meant. Camped with an arm's reach, the call is unleashed. The freedom I wish is never said. The life I've been gifted, the hope has been sifted. Don't tighten the collar around my neck. A light and unfruitful, a tool never useful. A thing to show off, yet to resent. A cry in the shadow, alone always have to. The pressure leaves me a reckoning from medallion around my neck. Is not meant for, self-sentimental. I know it's not what you meant.
Welcome back, 1-0 to Counter's casual competition, DG. We have got one more round left before this thing is done and dusted, and we can crown ourselves 2 champions at the top of the double up heap. How have you been enjoying things so far?
Well, looking at it here, I've got my thinking cap on. I'm rubbing it here, and I'm thinking, ooh, we've had some amazing gameplay happen. We've had, on the featured games, we've had a couple of stomps here, as at least from the first place winners, and then everyone second through fourth, being a tight knit battle for who's going to get eliminated first, to who's getting second. But our winners have been clear cut and decided. And I have a feeling that for game number 3, that's not going to be the case.
No, we'll be heading all the way up to table 1, so only our most successful teams so far were the ones who go face to face up against each other. But before we narrow in on that final lobby, we have got a couple of battlefield reports from round number 2 to look over. Let's see what else was going on off stream, as it's looking like I'm kind of surprised we didn't see this more, DG. Vega, incredibly strong. Twisted Fate, very strong. They're on the same value as each other. Actually good enough to beat out, in this case, a 3-star Z board.
I'm sorry. 3-star Z got eliminated by, well, that looks like a big Tyrannosaurus Rex, so yeah. And oh, that's a turret as well. So they had the Nitro augment with the extra bit of summon. So that just means quite a lot of units were on that board. So it just means that reroll is the name of the game for the winner side of things.
I think as well, Steve, you can see they're also trying to run a sort of techie board without any serious amount of Vegars in play. I think just couldn't keep up when it came to the late game. But let's take a look. I believe we've got one more lobby to look over and see if the reroll emergence happened across more than one board. It looks like in this case, with the 3-star forecast, did get the win. So we've got the contrast, DG, maybe based on the kind of encounter we're getting. That in this case, we have several 3-cost 4-stars, in fact, in this game. And this one's hugely late game focused, with the rerolls only featuring in a relatively minor fashion.
So that's a 6 golden ox board from Lunaris. And then Laser Core goes brr, just had a 3-star brand that seemingly beat out a 3-star Vex. So pick your forecasts carefully, people, because clearly some are better than others.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think if you let's see, in that case, they did have the Golden Ox emblem, which is usually the go sign to say, you know what, we're gonna win this lobby out. I think particularly for Golden Ox 6, you're getting so much money in. I strongly suspect that Lunaris ended up buying a lot of those brands for Laser Core and sending them over, just because you effectively have unlimited money beyond a certain point. So very, very powerful stuff, and I think one of the things to really look for heading into our final game of the day is whether or not we're in that kind of reroll low-cost situation where the tempo is high, the damage is coming in spades, or if our players overall are more sitting back and allowing for these huge late-game boards to come together.
I mean, certainly, looking at it, Lunaris definitely bought some of the boards. So, little bit of a personal anecdote this one, but I had a double up game with pills in the last set where basically I bought for him a 3-star Silco all on my own that I sent him in during various rounds because I was on a massive win streak. And spoiler alert, we won the game based off of that 3-star Silco because at the end his board was more powerful than mine. But yeah, that's sort of the thing you want to look at for teamwork and for playing for the team when you sacrifice some of your gold to send your teammate a very beneficial unit.
So, looking into our next game, I'm going to set up a prediction in the chat. I'm just trying to fit it into the very limited character count we can go for this one. So let's see, we've got, for our final lobby coming up then, we've got Chunk, who is Snoop and Yerka, Lunaris and Lasercore making up the Autumn Moons, then losing to 300 ping, which is Ancient and Cam, and then Team Hands, which is Hampus and Thero. I will put all of those into a somewhat abbreviated version of this. So Lunaris and Lasercore. Let's see, Luna and Laser. The third one being losing to 300. To 300, which is Ancient Cam. Between the three of them, DG, do you have any advice for our players or for our viewers rather, who might be making that prediction to come?
I will give you nothing. all I'm going to say is the two teams in first and second place have a little bit of an extra shot. However, I shall not be giving out any advice on who to vote for.
All right. Well, as you said, yeah, Chunk and Autumn Moon's definitely coming to this one with the advantage of the superior points. We do hear some good words from Lobby 7. That there's some shenanigans going in over there as you'd expect. The prediction is up though for our final lobby, so you can use your channel points to predict. We already see that Team Chunk possibly, as is often the case, voting for themselves to win at the final lobby. Because, at least that's the one you can control. But DG, it's time for our first final lobby of Double Up Encounters Casual Competition in the entirety of human history. So let's see which one of our teams will claim that first crown and prove themselves the superior Double Up squad.
Well, Hampus with a very good explanation that their team name means His Majesty the King Carl Gustav. So, I guess they're giving an homage to the king. So, because of the umlaut, I'm guessing it's Sweden, but I might be wrong. Hampus, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm very sorry if I'm wrong. But looking at it here, we have Yerka.
Yes, so let's get back to the game. We are going into the treasure realms here. So stage 4 NPC, the end of stage 4 will be the treasure realms, meaning that our players will get to re-roll some items and even some augments new to this particular version of the idea. So, for our players who are maybe missing the crucial piece of their composition, they can pretty much guarantee that if they've got the money in the bank, they'll be able to find the piece.
Yeah, 100% there. And we also have some very interesting boards coming in. A lot of one costs here being bought out by Hampus. So I'm guessing Hampus really wants to contest people, or just try and keep units from a lot of people, and as well as keeping his options open there. And we see Lunaris fielding herself a very Anima Squad centric board, almost wanting to lock herself into an Anima Squad early on. But we'll see how this board develops as the first round of augments is coming in.
Alright, so of course we're starting things off with the gold. Cut Purse we certainly saw being pretty tempting from before, but the Anima Squad is already in place. So we're going to reroll instead. Too much value, Pilfer. I wouldn't mind Pilfer at all. Again, we mentioned that there's a lot of reward for having your economy well afloat, but instead Lunaris is going to just pump raw board power in from early on. I wonder if we might see Lunaris pushing a level here. It's a little awkward, but you really need to be getting those kills in to make that healing orb count.
Yeah, you really need to get. Ooh, I think that was probably a mistake, because I would have kept in the second Vanguard. But yeah, you have the you have the Yumi with the Jewel Gauntlet, and Yumi can cast very very quickly. The Silas 2 coming in is actually very important here for that healing orb, because of the powerful front line.
In this case, yeah, it is going to work. I mean, certainly healing orb. If you're looking to snowball rounds, that's incredible, because not only are you, when you're winning rounds, not only are you coming across to help your teammate, but you're also coming across with likely your main tank freshly healed off the tail end of the round, so that your reinforcement wave becomes that much more deadly.
Um, yeah, but be careful not to turn into a ghost. I'm very sorry for that one. I regretted it as the words exited my mouth, because otherwise you'd be a deadly ghost. So I'm just gonna double down. Yeah, looking at it here, we have Yurka and Snoop uh, not going for a win streak. Actually, they have a little bit they have a little bit of a loss streak going for themselves, which is a little bit uncharacteristic, but it can prove to be beneficial.
And really fascinating to see. We've got Yerka on one side. Well, we've got two opponents here who both have the reigning gold ornament coming in, so it seems like from what we're seeing so far, we have got a pretty sharp distinction between some of our players here in the final lobby who are trying to go for the very, very heavy econ approach to the game, which will let them make full use of that treasure armory later on, and those looking for immediate power.
Yeah, and especially Hampus just yeeted off a Rengar uh, down to Tiro, who does seem to be playing the Executioners once again. So Tiro, uh, certainly with their own playstyle, but yeah, like you said, we saw two distinct things happening here. One reigning gold player leveling up early to try and keep a win streak. The other one going for the loss streak and trying to get to 50 gold as quickly as possible. We'll see which one proves to be the better version of the board.
See Lunaris on the other side. For Hampus managing to find a very early Gwynce's Rage Blade and putting together a very interesting Exotex Slayer board, so just putting the strongest board together possible, and even without the combat augment, the extra gold allowing almost a victory there. Last second reinforcements actually turn it, which means that we will be seeing, I believe, Hampus taking a loss here, which leaves Lunaris and Laser Core, the blue squad, currently undefeated.
Yeah, they are undefeated, but Lunaris got the save of their lives there by Laser Core, and this means that win streak is being kept, and Hampus was pushing very hard for that win streak. Uh, actually got put down a peg. So that means that win streak is not kept. That gold generation, while yes, you have reigning gold to give you one gold extra round, but that's still just one gold. So Hampus took a risk. It did not pay off, and it means that his board is going to get delayed by a significant amount with this win streak being broken.
Let's see what Cam is up to. They've got early access to Golden Ox and Bruiser. No Golden Ox emblem, of course, which would help propel this up into the stratosphere. Do notice we're seeing some Cypher units being kept on the bench there. I wonder if we might be seeing if the units align can make a pivot into a more lost streaking style.
I mean, depending on what they want to do, Cam can certainly look for a LeBlanc and maybe go into Cypher to get just a little bit of a cash out. But yeah, it does look like Cam right now have just decided to feel themselves a board that's fairly okay, is not going to take some heavy losses, and just try to see what happens next after stage number 2.
Executions we saw from Thero, we're now going to see them as well from Laser Core Go Burr. So, again, as we saw from the previous game, this will hamper the ability to, not hampers, but hamper the ability to hit the 3 stars on any of these boards. So, I'm kind of surprised to see people more willing to go for this, considering that the 3 cost rerolls are very, very powerful, but only really if you can hit the final form.
Yeah, very. Like you said, the kitty cat is very powerful, but you really need to 3-star the kitty cat to be extremely effective. And right now, it does seem like uh, Laser Core is going to get helped out by Lunaris. So Lunaris, she said it's time to return the favor for keeping my win streak from earlier on, and it does mean that economy wise, Lunaris and Lasercore are probably the two best performing players when it comes to keeping that economy high.
I think having that extra gold, having that extra HP means you've just got more flexibility as to how you approach the game. Suddenly with the executioner contest in this game, Lasercore, even while they are tied to playing execution, they could conceivably go up and try and push towards the higher cost executions instead. Taking in with Snoop though, part of Team Chunk along with Yerka, one of our 2 front-running teams, along with the Autumn Moons of Linares and Lasercore. We look and see them really directly against each other in this game. If one finishes higher than the others, then they will be secure in their spot as winner.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, the lobby is so close because it's a 1 point difference between all of these 4 teams, 16 and 15 respectively. But it does look like, at least for now, Lunaris and Lasercore have sort of taken over the lobby and have started to distance themselves away from everyone else, especially this board from Lunaris, which is really powerful with five anima squad at 3-1.
Yeah, as we were talking about before, I think the Healing Orbs was a bold choice to go for early on, but it seems to have paid off massively. Again, we'll see the Healing Orbs kicking in to make sure that the front line stays intact and you can bring across pretty much your entire board. I'm definitely something I'm going to be looking for myself, DG, going forwards as we go from gold to silver. So likely the status quo remains in place with the blue squad on top.
Now, this rig chop, if this is for Laser Core or for Thero, that could be what you need to get that reroll leveled up. But that's Lunaris, so it's going to be an eye for an eye getting picked here for Lunaris. But still, that's a that's another really good augment here for Lunaris, because even if your front line does go down, the healing orbs can secure your backline a little bit of extra HP, and you can still win a few rounds there. So even though it's a silver augment, it's still not a very detrimental augment for Lunaris.
I mean, the way that reads to me, DG, is that I think Lunaris and Lasercore are acknowledging that their boards right now, honestly, are doing better than expected, and at some point soon, we'll be seeing that fortune change, and other boards start to get strong enough to beat them. So I don't hate seeing Eye for an Eye as an augment that does literally nothing in the immediate, but later on will help build towards what will, hopefully for them, be an eventual tournament-winning board with extra components.
I mean, it's certainly looking like it. Hampus and Tiro are hanging in there, but I don't think anyone else can contest them unless Yurka and Snoop actually get a really good board. But yeah, with how well they're playing right now and how good their boards are looking, Lunaris and Laser Core are certainly looking strong. But Hampus might make me eat my words because that is a Zeri.
I do want to take a second to say, Hampus, I already saw you in the chat before. The poll, or rather the prediction, is still open, so if you want to vote for yourselves to stack up some channel points against Team Chunk, you absolutely can do that. Prediction is about to close as we hit roughly the midpoint of our final game of the day. Hampus will dance away from the bullets to get across the line and keep Team Yellow looking healthy, even if not undefeated.
And it's looking like Team Pink are actually struggling the most here, Counter, because Ancient and Cam are really, really looking down to be. I don't want to say down in the dumps, but it's almost looking like it. It's 3-4. It's the carousel round, and you're only on 38 HP. So it means that you're missing so much of your HP. You need to really level up your boards and get strong quickly. Ancient does have the cipher going in, but it's really gonna have to be a much better cash out that Blonde Unicorn got, because otherwise, uh, we're looking at another fort for a cipher player.
I mean, it's a big risk being taken. The losing to 300 ping. I mean, assuming Ancient and Cam, I have to double check this myself, but I'm assuming that they are playing from OS if they're getting that level of ping. So wonderful to see them here. But yeah, it's a big risk. I do like seeing, the sheer amount of stacking of resources here from Ancient, though. As a player who's on very low HP, we've got Raining Gold, we've got Kingslayer, and we've got Cypher as well. The potential to turn this board into something special is very much still there.
And the Z coming in there is really what can help Ancient, because the Z, even if you're in a loss streak, will certainly delete at least one unit from the other person's board. So it's really helpful that he got it. And wow, this is going to be an almost victory for Ancient. Only 2-unit loss, and we're already seeing it now. 315 stacks, so that could be a 400 cash out.
Oh, Corbin, could we take a quick look at, let's see, so Hampus's board. Hampus was in the chat, wanted to make a point about his Exotech itemization that was coming in. So, let's see. So yes, we've got Hollow Bow waiting to arrive as the third item in there for the Zeri. So if Hampus can get up to 7 Exotech and 2-star that Zeri, he's got a terrifying backline coming together.
Yeah, 100% there. And Counter, another thing that I'm also very scared of is there's a champion duplicator. So that's not the lesser one. That's the big champion duplicator. So this means that maybe we're going to see a 3-star forecast in one of our featured lobbies, but that remains to be seen, depending on what Hampus decides to do. Right now, it does look like Hampus is just going to take the victory over Ancient, and Cam is also going to take a loss. So Team Pink, while they are looking for that big cash out, they are also going down the ranks further and further towards that last life, as Lunaris finds a Renekton.
Hey, well, sometimes you just get a little bit lucky. I mean, the thing is, Lunaris and the Blue Squad, they've been doing pretty well so far. We talked about before that they were in a sort of managed decline, knowing that they've got a late game board to build tools, but they're not immediately the most powerful anymore. They still haven't really taken too many losses so far, even with that being the case.
And they're also getting a gift. So I believe that was trade of items. Yeah, Lunaris still has has the Renekton, has the Anima Squad, and is slowly but surely leveling up to 8. And this board can only go up from here because we do have the Zaya, we do have the Renekton, but on level 8, when you get to that Leona and when you get to that level 7, oh, they're still trading items. Counter. This is wonderful team play. This is what I wanted to see from the beginning of the tournament. Not a lot of people utilized the trading of items here, but Lunaris and Lasercore certainly are utilizing this trading to its full effect.
I think that's what we'll see going forwards, as well as we'll be having our next double up competition in a little over a month because of some scheduling. I mean, it's a little further away than we would like it to be, but that practice, there's a little bit of extra edge which you can find there by the extra itemization. I mean, DG, I think we should generally expect best in slot to be achievable much more frequently in double up because of being able to trade those components.
100% agree with you there. As the final round of augments is coming in, and we're already seeing some best in slot items on that Z. So hopefully, we see some best in slot for that Senna or for the Draven, and just trade off some good stats between each other, as we did see a 400 cash out for Ancient, and yeah.
It's
I
looking like a
agree with
pretty
you.
good.
I agree
It's
with you there,
looking like a pretty
Counter.
good board overall, but I'm with you there that the itemization is still a little weak compared to where I would like it to be. I mean, Ancient and Cam, they've barely got any time left in the lobby to make this one work. At least now we've got 2 carries with Renekton, taking some of the stats from the center, which is, of course, means that this Renekton will hit very hard, but if either Cam or Ancient lose, it's going to be big trouble up against Lunaris, who isn't on a win streak right now, and it's good enough to get Ancient across the line. Keep an eye on the right-hand side. Cam loses the round, though, which means the pink team is still in major trouble.
Yeah, they are still very very much in a deficit of HP, and something that Ancient did there was really smart. They Ancient paired up the Renekton and the Zed, and because of the bite from the Renekton, a lot of those stats are being shared to the Zed as well. So those 2 units are ramping up in power.
Well, that's happening, though, and the Team Pink are building their power. We've got other players who are already pretty far along. Zero doesn't quite have the 5th Executioner. Of course, we did see the Elgot coming in, being traded across between the 2 players on the teams before. But we're already seeing that cut purse, even with 4 Executioner, randomly dropping a couple of gold per round and helping accelerate this board even further.
Yeah, we have so much rerolling happening, but Zero has yet to hit a Rengar 3, but it doesn't really matter because of four executioners being active, and because of like you mentioned before, the best in slot items coming in. It just means that Zero's board has come online slightly earlier than everything else, and it does mean that you have another discrepancy of HP bars.
A big separation between top 4 and bottom 4. Yelka and Snoop both in major trouble. Do remember, of course, that Yurka and Snoop, part of Team Chonk, one of our front runners, along with the Autumn Moons, Team Blue. So currently, our two front-running teams, very different circumstances from each other. Especially if Yurka and Snoop go out early on, that puts Team Blue in a great position to win the entire event.
Yeah, 100% agreeing with you there. We have Yerk actually leveling up to 9, but hasn't found too much there. So I think Yerka might just be looking towards finding something decent on this dragon round that's coming in, but it's looking very grim for Team Chonk.
Cam on the other side, along with Ancient, trying desperately to survive here in our ultimate lobby of the tournament. Looking like Cam will be taking the L here again. No reinforcements are coming, and that means the team as a whole will go down to a single life, their last life remaining.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and it's really difficult to see there because Cam had a massive cash out and is going to take the loss actually, but that's from getting the teammate of Snoop and Yerka going up against each other. But you can definitely see what both Cam and Agent want to do. Sadly, it hasn't been proven powerful enough because the 7 Exotech board has not been doing the massive damage and death by 1,000 cuts that you would normally expect.
I think the problem here, we've ended up with the slightly wonky carry setup where we're using Varus as our primary carry over anything else, and I think that's just not able to deliver the same kind of damage that the Zeri 2 would be ideally looking to put out. We'll see if it makes it through this round though, keeping an eye on Ancient as well. It looks like Cam will win the round. It's still taking a while to happen, but it's going to be, I think, just in time to get across and reinforce Ancient.
Yeah, it is going to be enough, but the problem is that's a 2-star Zeri from Hampus, and it means that I believe Hampus is going to eliminate Cam and Ancient. Yes, Cam and Ancient are eliminated in 4th place, and we have the Dragon round coming in.
That means that losing to 300 ping, Cam and Ancient are out of contention for winning the event. They really would have needed to have come in 1st place here, but instead out in 4th. Yerka and Snoop, again, tied for 1st place with the blue squad, the Autumn Moons. If Yerka and Snoop continue their plummet in HP and get knocked out, then we will likely be heading into a tiebreaker situation at worst for Team Blue.
Yeah, it's not looking too strong for Team Purple there. However, I do want to take a look at Yerka and Snoop's board once this Dragon round ends, because I think we might have seen a little bit more powerful of a board from Yerka, especially if he got a lot of gold from this augment, because Laser Core right now is looking to be very strong with this 3-star Rengar.
We've got some extra upgrades coming as well. Yerka and Snoop both hitting big 2-star 4 costs in their board. DG, they've got a huge amount of ground to make up for in this game. Even with the 2-star Viego coming in as well, they basically got 2 lives again between the two of them. And now they've got to chew through 121 HP of opponents to win out the lobby.
2 lives in a dream, and that's the name of the game right now for Yerka and for Snoop, and it's looking a little bit grim right now. However, this 2-star Viego has been doing quite a lot of work for Yerka, but the teammate here in Lunaris coming in just means that Yerka is going to take the loss, and Team Purple are down to their last life. And so, Counter, it's not looking too well for Team Chonk.
No, we've got last arriving, but given what we saw in the previous round, I am not too optimistic about their chances of staying alive in this one.
Ooh.
Team Chunk, they got a little bit more gold in, trying to find that last piece, but they're out of time, DG. The Renekton upgrade would be big, but there's no more money in the tank. You're going to have to sell something else.
That was a Kobuko 2 sell for the Renekton 2.
Ooh.
That's a really risky game to play, but you are going to give the
Wait, hold that
it's a
thought,
BT.
DG. Hampus just hit Sejuani 3. I think we can pretty
Oh.
much write off the purple team at this point.
Yeah, if Hampus is going up against Yurka, then that means the Team Purple is getting eliminated. But look at this Renekton 2 just demolishing this Anima squad board, but it's still not enough.
The burst was too strong, and it will be a farewell to Team Purple. That was Team Chunk out in 3rd place, so now no longer in contention for 1st place. Though, of course, with the points being as tight as they are, we'll wait for final confirmation as to who might be headed to 2nd. Likely, though, it will be these 2 teams. So on one side of the equation, I'll let you say the team name of Team Yellow.
Team Yellow, aka let me check out the proper pronunciation. So Hans Majestat Konungen Carl Gustav, being well, I think right now they're probably our front runners simply because of the 3-star Sejuani AoE stun from the whole board.
I think that's a reasonable position to take. Though we do know it's not impossible. We could see another 3-star forecast coming in. You have to imagine, though, Team Yellow, they're going to be fully aware that's the only way they're going to be losing from this point forwards, is if there is another 3-star forecast in. So, if anything, I think you'd be spending more of your time looking at your opponent's benches than your own.
Well, 100% agreeing with you there. Ooh, that's an Anima squad emblem. That could save Lunaris. Maybe if Lunaris can get that Anima squad emblem, it might just happen. Looking at it here, Laser Core is thinking about what to get, is going to get the Morellonomicon, but right now, Counter, I really think that looking at this board, you really want to find a you really want to find a 3-star Leona, or try and look for some for Quicksilvers to help out your backline, because that stun is 8 seconds long, and in 8 seconds this Zeri can definitely do 1,000 cuts.
I mean, it's so tricky, isn't it? At least you can keep your Xayah out of the blast radius. So at least I'm going to check and see if it ends up covering the entire board. Okay, yeah, so we actually do see, considering that this is a 3-star Sejuani, this round isn't going as disastrously as you might have otherwise, but I suppose the good news for the blue squad here is that you can still win without necessarily actually beating the 3-star Sejuani board. You just have to beat their teammate.
Yeah, 100% with you there. I just want to check something very quickly. Once we see what mod the Tiro goes for from the Garen. If possible, can we take a look to Laser Core's board, because now there's a Leona here that Tiro is holding, but if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's a 2-star Leona right there waiting, and Lunaris also had a lot of Leonas himself, so we might just see the battle between the Leona and the Sejuani.
I think what they might be going for here is to try and keep this as low-key as possible between the two teams by, if you stack up and get ready to just roll everything, put everything in as quickly as possible. Because we've also got the duplicator on this side. I wonder if we might see, actually... Oh, let me pitch you this, DG. the Lunaris sends the 2-star Leona to their teammate Lasercore, who then duplicates the last needed Leona and sends the 3-star back.
You're reading my thought process here, Counter. That's exactly what I was thinking as well. Because if you get, if you get to uh, towards those eight Leonas, then it's so easy to just give the champion duplicator. And like you were saying earlier, you don't even really need to beat Hampus. You just really need to beat Thero, and the two boards just have to tank up enough for your other teammate to beat up on Thero, because I do believe that Thero's board is probably the weakest one of the four that we have right now.
And we did see some 2-star upgrades coming in for Team Blue as well. So we've got Xayah brewing on the bench. I think we've got a situation here where the blue team, with the extra HP, they're trying to fish for multiple different forecasts to be able to go for in a 3-star capacity, which is a privilege that's afforded to them because of their game position overall.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this here. You almost have, this board, from Hampus getting beaten up by Lunaris herself. So it's not like that board is invincible in itself.
So coming down to the tail end here, we're in stage 6. Hampus and Thero, Team Yellow, are on the streak. They've been chipping away at the massive HP reserve of the blue squad for quite some time. We know the blues are holding out for that big turnaround play. We do see the two Leonas being kept on the bench here by Thero, trying to make sure that there's no extra shenanigans coming their way. The Xayahs, again, are still brewing, but I think with this being such a focused situation, DG, I don't think there's any way that the yellow team get caught by surprise.
No, I don't think so, but
Ooh.
what you are going to get surprised by is this massive loss that Thero is going to take. And it doesn't matter if the Sejuani tanks up everything, if this Renekton can just beat up on everyone else. But Team Blue is going to take a loss, but it's not a significant loss, because this board from Thero still really needs a lot of these upgrades. And we do see we have a 2-star Xayah and a 2-star Leona. We sold the Leona, so we're looking for, are we looking for a Xayah here? I think you just need to send the Xayah at this point, right?
Yes, Kobe, can we take a look at Lunaris' board to confirm that is the case? Presumably it wasn't possible that Lesgor didn't do it in that round, but Thero, I mean, this is going to be huge. We saw in the last round, Thero was the member of the yellow team who did lose their round. If that happens again, we could see Team Yellow going to Elimination Station despite having the Sejuani 3.
Yeah, and that just means that Lasercore needs to be quick enough, which he is. And Lunaris also beat Hampus.
What? That's crazy. We definitely need to be watching very closely in the round to come. Yellow team brought down to a single life between the two of them. They've gone from seeming like they're going to overtake to suddenly being on the precipice.
I mean, yeah, you'd expect Lasercore to beat Thero because Lasercore just has an evolved version of the board, but having the 3-star Sejuani lose is so. I mean, it's surprising at first, but it's also so difficult for Hampus, because you rely this Team Yellow on Hampus being the one to bring you the victory, and if he can't even do that, then that means Team Blue would have it in the bag.
So Elimination Station, Hampus and Thero have got a single life between them. If you see a red loss indicator on either of their players on the right hand side, This one is over. Inaris absolutely demolishing the board, and that's not even a little bit close. That will be an end to it, and that will mean that the Autumn Moons, Linares and Lasercore, will be our inaugural Double Up champions.
Wow. That Renekton too, just getting onto the backline and quickly demolishing the Varus and everything else there. You have to feel a little bit for Tiro, who had a little bit of a wonky setup for the Street Demons, so everything had to be clumped up, which meant that the Aurora and the Renekton can just mow down the front line and the back line. But yeah, congratulations are in order to Lunaris and Lasercore, because that was a game well played.
Just keeping an eye out to see if everything is being set up. It looks like we do have some tiebreakers, so we'll wait for confirmation on our second place, because we've got a couple of teams tied with the same points total. But of course, again, we can confirm the Autumn Moons as our inaugural double up winners. That was a hell of a lobby to end us out there. There was still the possibility of seeing that Xayah 3 coming through. For that not to ultimately be needed to get the win there is pretty shocking.
I mean, yeah. We saw in our previous lobbies the 3-star forecasts could lose, and we were wondering how it happened. But we just saw it happen. A 3-star forecast lost, even in a 1v1 scenario where, for all intents and purposes, it should win. Granted, it's a tank Sejuani, but it's a tank Sejuani that stuns the whole board for 8 seconds. And so, Lunaris and the Lasercore go brr, the fact that they could just go beyond that is just amazing.
Alright, so this will be our final and official announcement here then. So Linares, I'm going to start tagging people in the post. And Lasercore, congratulations, are our champions. Team Churro, which is Chad Chadster, of course, very familiar with such placements towards the top. And Senor Guanez will be our second place. Let's just make sure I'm getting the right person there. Let's see, Senor... there we go. Our second place with Team Chonk and Team Hans and Team Vajuran all losing out there just by a single point. So a very hotly contested tournament from beginning to end.
Yeah, I mean, 2 points being between the five teams just means how close this tournament was, and how difficult it was to eke out and try and get the victory. And so, congratulations are in order, of course, for Autumn Moons. But I think everyone else who made the top 5 here also deserves a massive congratulations, because of just how well they did.
Oh, for sure. I mean, of course, with tournaments yet to come, hopefully we're in the context of the counter-culture competition and elsewhere as well, we'll be seeing lots more double up competitions coming through, because as was demonstrated extremely well here, the setup does seem to be working as pretty much we hoped it would be. We've still got a few kinks to get ironed out in terms of how everything is done overall for future double up competitions, but in the main, I think particularly Wet Noodle's doing a great job of keeping us afloat here in the very first time out, where there have been a few surprises to keep us on our toes. But again, hopefully we'll get to see some of these teams and players now commit in the time, knowing that they've got future double up competitions to demonstrate their superiority.
I mean, 100% agreeing with you there. And just looking at it right here, because of how close the double up tournament was, I think the thing that just going back to the beginning of everything, to what Yuki and Blonde Unicorn were saying, like them having a lot of teamwork to go through, and thinking of what your team needs. And I mean, outside of our winners, I didn't see too much trading happening or too many sends for units. So I really want to see a lot of our players put in a lot more work and think about team a lot more teamwork, because while we did see a fair amount of it, I still think we could see a lot more.
Oh, and Lady Linares in our chat saying that this was their first tournament that they were playing. So congratulations, that's even more impressive. No, her and Lasercore being able to... I don't know if Lady Linares, if you're still in the chat, to be able to confirm if this is the case, if that was the first tournament for Laser as well, because that's incredibly impressive. The quality of players we get in the casual competition is surprisingly intense, and we've even got particular specialists here, like of course we saw from Yuki and Blonde. While they didn't necessarily have the best of days today, we know that in future double up competitions they'll always be a major threat, just because they put an enormous amount of thought and time into getting every kind of edge possible in the mode.
I mean, they're always a threat to anyone that's in the lobby. It's a little bit unfortunate. It's a little bit unfortunate that they didn't get that massive cipher cash out and the victory, but they're not bad players by any means of the word.
And yes. Oh, Lady Naris confirming for us that okay. So Lasercore had done some tournaments, but for the first tournament for Lady Naris, I mean that's a pretty good start. It does set quite a high bar for you going forwards, but I'm hoping what will kind of be the shape of this kind of stuff, Deadly Ghost, is that you have sort of traveling teams going from tournament to tournament, playing not just in the double up tournaments here, but other double up tournaments, and using that kind of success you found here, to climb those kind of ranks and build up, and hopefully we'll end up with a whole double up circuit before too many moons have passed, and so give you a lot of reason to keep grinding.
Yeah, 100%. Because double up was, I would say, unable to be effective in competitive play because of how and the changes currently shown gave us so much more to think about, but also gave us so much more freedom. It just means that we should be on the lookout for competitive double up teams instead of only single players.
Lady Naris giving this the top tips. Recommend Discord comms to yell at your duo over trading items and champions. Yeah, I think there's a huge amount of depth to be added to the game of TFT, particularly in Double Up now that we've got the trading mechanics coming in there. So we're talking about during the game, best in slot, or just forcing competitions. I suspect will be a lot easier than it might be otherwise. As we wind towards the end here, though, do want to kind of point out some of the stuff from today, which we still want to make sure is front and center. So first of all, our thanks going out to our production team, who've been doing an incredible job of keeping us afloat and making sure that nothing gets too on fire. So you can find Alex video and Corvid, who's been doing a great job of observing as well and keeping up with all of our various demands throughout the course of the day. You can find them on Twitter, links in the chat at the moment. We've also, of course, got our musical friend in Smacked Crabs. You can find Smacked Crabs Spotify for their album coming out in just a few days' time. They have been providing the music for today's stream, so if you've enjoyed that, please go and check out Smacked Crabs over there. DG, of course, we've got your own Blue Sky to recommend to the good folks. How could you tantalize them to follow along with what you're posting on there?
Well, you're going to see some meme posting. You're going to see some interesting things. And if you are a general fan of tomfoolery, then you should always drop a follow. And also, I will be sharing some upcoming things there on my Blue Sky. So if you want to see more of me, be on the lookout there for anything that's coming up.
All right, let's see. Alex, are we ready for the draw for the teams which didn't come first and second? Because of course we'll be getting prizes for 2 additional teams, exactly the same prize as was going out to first or second. Oh, Linus, thank you for coming along to play this from NA as well. Keep an eye out. We've got the Tournament 100 coming up and a little way off, which will hopefully have a time zone that will be a little bit more NA friendly. But DG, would you mind counting us in for our first random team giveaway of today's competition?
Champions, get ready to roll in 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so whoever is chosen, their whole team will win the same prize. So let's see, so that's Prince Maxi, and let's just quickly do a search just to make sure we get the right person. That's Fatal and Max, so that's Prince and Fatal. And, okay, Fatal, so it'll be a little tricky to take out Fatal at this point, so if we roll Fatal again, we just won't do that. Alright, then our last one. Oh my gosh, we got players from Singapore as well. Wow, a really international event. I feel really bad about setting the tournament this time then. So, our last team winners of today. 3, 2, 1. Meow. It's gonna be the Pengu twins. Congratulations. Just make sure I get the names correctly in there. Let's see, Pengalicious. That's Promiscuous Pengu. How salacious. And their teammate, Pantsless Pengu. I guess I'm seeing a bit of a theme there, DG.
Yeah, 100%. We have some themes coming in, but yeah, this was very interesting to see, the whole tournament, not just the draws. But yeah, congratulations to all of the winners. Congratulations once again to Lunaris and Lasercore, and also NA times not a problem. I think the people in OS might be a little bit more shocked by the tournament start time.
I think OS time is actually okay. It's just the evening for them, so it's actually quite reasonable for OS. That's why I've been trying to find some more OS friends or OS adjacent friends to come along and play. But do bear in mind, we'll not be on our normal tournament cadence of every 2 weeks. This one is going to be delayed slightly from what would normally be the 3rd of May. Instead, will be on the 10th of May. So please to make sure that you check that. There is a reminder in the Discord for the next tournament there. So you can sign up for that, though the sign up is not itself open. You can at least make sure you've got the reminder. If you are just wanting to play for Double Up, that will be on the 24th of May. So hopefully you'll come back and join us for that then. Again, thank you for everyone, including Luna, for helping out today. We're going to send our raid across to someone who seems like they're writing TFT guides. So hopefully they'll have lots of important stuff to tell us. That CMBWF, never met them before, so I guess we'll find out what they are like once we go and drop in and hopefully make some new friends along the way. Again, do come back on the 10th of May for the next competition. Again, thank you to everybody. Alex, video for doing production and admin work, Corward observing Deadly Ghost, and of course Luna for the casting work. But now though, we'll see you guys in 3 weeks time, and get grinding, because we'll see you then.
expectation, the illumination. My future to be so tainted red. A thought never given, a death